Hello, welcome back to my channel. I am Emily Taylor, I am an artist, and today we are going to be doing a Clip Studio Paint, I guess like walkthrough. I'd never used this app before this drawing. Really, I'd done like a little bit of like, you know, when you try out all the brushes and stuff, but not really a full drawing. So today I'm kind of going through that full like workflow. So I decided to draw a pomegranate. I can't remember why, to be honest. I literally can't even remember why, but I decided to do a pomegranate, and I just started out with like kind of peachy and yellowy kind of like base mixed together. So I wanted to have kind of like a very warm but not flat base, so that's why I did that. So I mixed those together and then I blended them with one of the blending brushes. I quite like the brushes that are included with Clip Studio Paint. I used the gouache brush and I think I just mainly used a gouache brush for the whole painting, which I quite enjoyed. And I also wanted to try and do this within an hour. So yeah, I kept my brush quite big. Over the last year or so, I've tended to work quite small. So yeah, I just wanted to work a bit bigger on this piece. So yeah, my brush was quite big. It was like 50% the size. And yeah, so I basically started by blocking out the proportions and then just slowly kind of like filling in from the back front. So I was kind of trying to think about it in layers in terms of, you know, if there was a bit of light peeking through from a colour, I would do like a thicker layer of white first and then sort of work into it, adding the deeper colours. And this particularly, one of the ways I like this is because obviously inside the cavity of the pomegranate itself is quite dark. So I did kind of like a dark almost pocket, and then I worked into it adding the pomegranate seeds, so adding the lighter colours on top. So I went from a very dark kind of burgundy purple then to kind of like a reddish colour, and then back again to like a brighter red for the inside of the pomegranate seeds, and then on the other side it's more of a corally colour, but the premise is the same. I've sort of gone from, if there's a highlight, I've added that sort of white section, then I've worked on top of it in layers. I think because of the way that this works and it doesn't like blend in together too much, you can kind of work with it with layers, almost kind of like your acrylic painting. So I guess that makes sense in terms of the gouache. I didn't try the oil paint because on my other app that I like to use, which is Art Set 4, I use the oil paint a lot, or I use oil pastel brush a lot. So those, but you know, even then I suppose they don't really blend into each other in the same way that oil paint or oil pastels do in real life. But yeah, I think you definitely need the like blending tool if you're going to try to if you're going to try and blend the colours together. They don't really like naturally blend together on Clip Studio Paint, which makes sense. Like, you know, it makes sense. So I tend to work by sort of blocking things out first and then using a blending brush to blend them together afterwards. At this point I was doing the main like half of the pomegranate, adding the depth, adding the seeds, adding the textures and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I think it's quite a nice challenge to do, is try and do this within an hour, because since the beginning of January 24, I've been doing a drawing a national flower every 2 weeks kind of challenge, and it was supposed to be quite like a loose challenge. It was supposed to be, I said to myself at the beginning of the year, oh, I'm going to keep my brush a certain size, I'm not going to go too detailed, it's going to be like not very long. But as the year's gone on, the pictures have just got more and more and more detailed. And I think as well, the joy of working in digital is that you can zoom in and you can erase and you can, you know, be quite perfectionist about it. But obviously with that comes a lot of time exchanged, and I'm a bit finite on time. So I think I would like to kind of try and do these a bit more often, where I'm drawing, you know, I set myself a challenge to draw something in an hour and see how I can go. I mean, at the moment I'm doing like Stilltober, so I am just like, yeah, that's kind of gone out the window a little bit. It should have stayed, but it has kind of gone out the window a little bit. But I'm nearly done with Stilltober now. Currently it's the 24th of October, so yeah, we're nearly there. Another like 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 days to go. I'm about a day. Well, I'm doing tomorrow's today, so I'm getting there. But you know, I can't lie. There was a moment where I definitely got behind, but it's okay. But yeah, way better than last year. Last year I literally got to like day 18 and I think I'd skipped out like 4 days before that, and I was done. I was over it. And then I literally like didn't make any artwork for ages. So I'm glad this year I've kind of been able to like make it a bit more sustainable and a bit less kind of just burning me out, I guess. So that's quite good. But I've enjoyed it actually. I think as well, picking the right prompt list is so important. Like last year I did Peachtober, and like I love Furry Little Peach and I love her account, but it's just not my style, it's just not my vibe, and I don't really do like character illustrations or anything like that, so it just like wasn't for me really. And I think I only realised about Stilltober like halfway through Peachtober, and I just was like, oh, this would have been much better. And I can confirm that after doing it this year, Stilltober has been way better. I think I only did 2 of the Peachtober prompts this year. I did paw because it matched. I did like a little cat in a hat. Yeah, it was paw for Peachtober and cold for Stilltober. So I did a cat that was cold, I guess. But that worked out quite well. And then I did apricot, which was day 9, I think, instead of rain. But you know, I think picking the right prompt and the right prompt list is way more important than I actually gave it credit for. So yeah, but I've been enjoying it. And then I'm going back to drawing every country's national flower in November. So I'm going to do that. I was doing it every 2 weeks. I'm going to now do it every week to sort of like catch up on the 2 I missed for October, because I couldn't do both. But yeah, so I guess lots of drawing, but digital is so good for that, because I think, you know, I can just pick up my iPad and literally like draw anywhere. So yeah, that has made it much more sustainable to keep drawing, really, I think, for me. So thank you to the iPad, I guess, and Artset 4, and hopefully now Clip Studio. I feel like Clip Studio Paint was like natively made for like using with a graphics tablet and a computer. I feel like my iPad struggles a little bit with it, but hopefully I can work it out and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, and we've sort of got off track of the actual drawing itself, but basically I kept going, filling in the layers, adding for the seeds and stuff, and then I wanted to add a background that was kind of contrasting to the red, so I went for this teal blue. I think teal and red are such a lovely like colour combo, so I went for that, and then I blended it. I don't really know why I didn't do it in a separate layer, the background, because it just makes it a bit more difficult to blend the pomegranate, because obviously I don't want to blend the pomegranate, I just want to blend the background, so I don't know why I didn't do that in a separate layer, but I didn't. So yeah, I guess I just was careful, but I really liked the colour contrast and how it made the pomegranate pop. I think that was quite effective in the end. And then after I did that, and I was happy with how the background looked, I went back in and did a few more like lighter sections just to kind of make it pop. And then I went in and did some of the highlights on the pomegranate itself, so it kind of was just feeling a little bit flat. It just needed that extra bit of like 3 dimensions, I guess. So you'll see in a sec, I went back in and I added some little like white highlights and then just blended them out a little bit. And I think for me it really like took the piece from being like alright to being like finished. So yeah, but I was really happy with it in the end, and you can see some of the details here. And obviously it's a bit looser than I would usually go, but I kind of like that, and that was kind of the point. I wanted it to be a bit looser. So yeah, but thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. But thank you for watching, and like and subscribe and all the rest of it. And I hope you have a lovely rest of your week.